realized I had to overcome this fear. And the fact that I knew why this fear was there helped me to overcome it. And I was able to force myself to face those fears and with God's help overcome them. Psalm 34:3 says, I sought the Lord and he answered me. He delivered me from all of my fears. A lady came in my office one time and she sat down and she began to shake, violently shake, and tears were rolling down her face, and she kept looking down at the floor, and finally when I asked her what was the matter, she told me, she says, I'm afraid. And of course I asked her what she was afraid of, and she says, I'm afraid of everything. And she said that this fear would come upon her any given time without any warning. And she described it the way that a fog would settle on a harbor town, and it just would show up and it would be there. And because of that, she was afraid to go to town. She was afraid to go to the grocery store. She was afraid to go to church. She was afraid to go anywhere for fear that this would happen to her in front of a bunch of people and that she wouldn't be able to get home. And some people have different fears. Some people are afraid of snakes. Some people are afraid of spiders. Some people are afraid of heights. Some people are afraid of closed spaces. And a lot of times there's a reason for those fears. I was afraid of flying for a number of years, and the reason I was afraid of flying was that an airplane crashed in my yard and blew up, and people were killed. And for years following that, I wouldn't fly. I used to take trains around the country rather than flying, and I realized I had to overcome this fear. And the fact that I knew why this fear was there helped me to overcome it. And I was able to force myself to face those fears and with God's help overcome them. But when you have a fear that there's no basis for, it makes it very difficult to overcome that. This lady had been to a number of counselors, and those counselors had told her, take these pills and it'll help you with your fears. Well, it didn't. And the fact that she's sitting in my office and shaking and crying was proof of that. And I didn't offer her pills. I offered her the only thing that I had to offer her, and that was Jesus. That if you seek the Lord with all your heart, you will find him. And when you find him, he will take away your fears. And so this lady began to pray for God to deliver her. And she would take the scriptures that I had given her. These were passages of scripture that talked about how Jesus is our strength, how he is our mighty fortress. He is our help in time of need. And she would take these, she would carry them with her. And whenever she started to feel the fear to come on, she would pull them out and she would read these passages. No, she would pray these passages and ask God to take away this fear. And eventually he did. And she was able to go on with her life. And I don't know what you're afraid of. For many people, it's many different things. But you don't have to live in fear. If you seek God with all your heart, you will find him. And when you find him and you pray, you know his power, you know his strength, you know that he is not only willing, but able to take away these fears. And so if you're living in fear, I ask you now, seek out the Lord your God and pray to him to remove those fears. Thank you.